Welcome to the Success Sensei podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devane.
Bowing in. This is Robert Devane, the Success Sensei, helping you to win at life one kick and punch at a time. Episode 318. The fight game has gone to the dogs.
It's the Success Sensei podcast main event.
The fight game has gone to the dogs. I grew up in the 80s. And it was the heyday of professional boxing. The 90s, K1 kickboxing was big. I started competing at the age of 13 in Kung Fu, karate. Went on to amateur kickboxing. I've competed in BJJ and professional MMA. Unofficially retiring at the age of 37. So basically I competed and fought for 24 years. And I say competing more so than fighting because I saw myself more as a competitor than a fighter. A martial artist first and foremost, and that's probably how I managed to compete for so long. At the start, it was hard to get my mind around allowing myself to take part in combat sports because it was so ingrained in me that it was for self-defense only. I used to love the extreme competition and how it drives you to improve beyond what you thought was possible. The nerves, apprehension, and adrenaline does make it easy to overtrain, too easy. As much as combat sports can be violent, I never focused on the violence. I certainly never enjoyed the violence. I did focus on the preparation, the strategy, and the performance. You know, some people may think I'm a washed up and bitter ex-fighter who simply wasn't good enough to be at the very top of the fight game. I'm not going to try to dispute that or to try to change their minds. As Eminem says, I am whatever you say I am. But regardless, my opinion is still valid. The fight game has gone to the dogs. I'm including all combat sports. Sport karate, boxing, kickboxing, MMA, BJJ, even the Olympic combat sports of boxing, judo, taekwondo, and wrestling. Here are my 5 issues. Issue number 1, monopolies and politics. It is human nature to regulate or to want to regulate, control and restrict other people and circumstances. And this does open the door to manipulation and control. It's evident in all combat sports. Everybody that's been involved in any combat sport around the world, regardless of disciplines, will have had some experience of monopolies and politics. And yes, in the defense of combat sports, it's there in all sporting endeavors. But it's specifically evident in combat sports. Sports that you think are very definitive and have very definitive winning and losing patterns. And yet, the politics and the monopoly is still very, very evident. Right, issue number 2, drugs and more drugs. Drugs have infiltrated every sport. Do you really believe that, number 1, they test for everything? Do you really believe, number 2, they test everyone? What about number 3? They test properly. Number 4, that they don't change or hide the results. Just look at the combat sport athletes' bodies. The general public can't even tell between the body of a performance-enhanced drug body and one that isn't. And that's because so many are at it. We aren't even going to get into the use of recreational drugs and how they're very often used in conjunction with PEDs. So let's leave that one there. Drugs, drugs and more drugs. On to number 3. Shady characters. It's very hard to find a good role model in combat sports. There are far too many dodgy fighters, coaches, managers and promoters in combat sports. And crime and the crime world and criminal figures have always been linked to various disciplines in combat sports. Many parents second guess allowing their kids to take up combat sports due to this. And it's a far cry from the older image of self-discipline that used to surround the practice of martial arts. Issue number 4. Fixes, fakes, result manipulation. Look, proof or no proof, who cares? It definitely goes on. It always has done. Big money investors don't leave their investment to chance. I'm not getting into individual cases, but we know it exists. Fixes, fakes, result manipulation. Now keep in mind that when it comes to fixes, it doesn't mean that the punches and kicks aren't real. It doesn't mean that they have to be faked. When there's big money at stake, people are quite willing to do whatever it requires and whatever needs to be done in order to control and fix results. Number 5, issue number 5. Embarrassing exhibitions and entertainment bouts and embarrassing leagues. Reality TV stars, social media influencers, mismatched fights, slap fights, tag team MMA and X-Arm style fights. Do I need to say any more? I think that's one of the single reasons why it's put a lot of people off. I'm not the only one who has all of these issues, and I'm sure there's more issues. Look, I'm obviously biased and feel that the older generation of fighters were superior. Not just my generation, but I think they were very, very tough fighters back in the day when it was more the unknown. So even going back further, I think they were very tough. When it wasn't all about looks or branding or social media followers. I don't miss it now. I still love martial arts. I love sparring. I love grappling. I love working out. Self-defense has always been very important to me. The competition scene just feels like it's an out-of-control wild circus, and I'm glad to be out of it. With no mental or physical injuries, and without overstaying my welcome. I do feel sorry for the older fighters who seem to keep going into older age brackets. Is their identity as a fighter all that they have? Do they really need to continue taking these chances for the money? Can they not find something to replace that focus and energy? I'd love to know, what do you think? Are you a long-time fan of combat sports? Do you love it more now than ever? Did you love it more previously and you feel the same way I feel? I would absolutely love to know what you think. And who is your favourite fighter of all time, past or present? Thank you for listening. I'm Robert Devane, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight you can enjoy and win. Bowing out.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.